Good evening, and thank you for coming to tonight's Finance and General Purposes Committee meeting. So my computer's usually now. First item, apologies for absence.
I had apologies from Councillor Rycroft. I'm not quite sure about.
Councillor Shearer sort of almost intimated his apologies, but it's definitely my emails. I presume he gave his apologies. He was concerned about the items on here.
Yeah, I've not said you have to bring that in a minute, but yeah.
So there we are. So are we happy to accept both of those? 1.5 of them, should we say? Lovely. Declarations of interest. We've had a beginning as not sure phrase, the beginning of a declaration. Any form of interest between.
So I'm a volunteer driver for Water. I'm a trustee of the Related Animal.
Support. David, you put down the museum trust on here.
No, really, that's just a carry.
That's
That's just because.
What is
Do I
that?
have to add a bit of
Well, it's also.
Oh, yeah.
Apologies for absence, Councillor Wade and Councillor Shearer.
That should be on there.
And unless my eyes are very much mistaken, Councillor Wade is very much here.
Well, maybe I'm here in spirit.
Or not.
Or body.
Body, but not spirit.
Yes, yeah.
Fine, okay, thank you very much indeed. We'll come to those later in this, we have to go to the notice therefore. Consideration, representations from interested parties, do we have any of those? Consideration of requests from interested parties. Page 1 done already. Finance for general purposes minutes. The proposition is to approve and sign the minutes for the Finance and General Purposes and Human Resources Committee from the 12th of November. I have them in front of me. We will have a copy. So the meeting will clarify. We will okay. So, section 2428, financial matters, to receive the monthly accounts. Any questions or queries, John?
I've got three, if I can. If I've missed this before, then I apologise, but according to this, we're now paying, so 2,000 a year. Yeah. 2,023 a year. Our income is down by about £4,500 if we exclude the courthouse, £1,000 worth of negative income for the courthouse. Is that likely to increase?
That's a possibly not something to be outspoken about in an open meeting.
Right.
As
far as the committee.
But if you want to close the meeting in the middle.
Well, whether we do it now or later on, it's a concern 2,000 way through the year, even disregarding capital spend in the courthouse, with £5,000 plus down on income. Worsen because
There's two offices that have bits checked out, roof lines and leaks and stuff, which the states have talked about communication. I think they're saying January until we get those leaks rectified. So
that's really helpful. Thank you. That's explaining all of it. All of it. So the shortfall will increase across the year just on operational expense basis.
Assuming, yes, assuming we get additional people in.
Same as cemetery, we're £2,000 down on cemetery year to date. Is that?
We've been recorded, aren't we?
hard to predict.
That's, yeah, that's just the way it is. If the market had carried on.
And then other ones with the we've got a 54, where did I see that? £54,000 spent. That was the lights, wasn't it? We haven't spent anything on the lift, have we? Apart from a couple of thousand.
The significant spend on that is electricity.
Yeah.
That's electricity.
Yeah.
So that is a one-off.
Yeah, well, we hope it is.
Oh, yeah, I've not
We've
heard
got
of it.
meters in now. Smart meters in.
We have, then they said it wasn't working. And And then I sent the reading off again to them, and they were going to come out, but they decided not to come out. So I think they've decided to just accept the readings. At the moment, I'm not quite sure what's going on. I haven't had time to chase it up.
We do monthly readings.
Hmm?
We do monthly readings.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they've got readings.
So readings on the meter won't be read.
Mm.
Reading through.
And that is your electricity cost per year. Yeah, and that's obviously skews everything.
They spend on the lifting alarms and that's down there. So those two spends are practically the,
Yeah, those two comes to 53,000,
yeah.
just those two alone.
Thank you.
Any other questions or queries? No? Love it. Thank you very much indeed. Uh, 24/28/02 to approve the budget for 25/26. Just a bit of context. The ambition at the last meeting was to hopefully drop us out of the headlines for the wrong reasons and give us good news that we're in. Not that I'm sure other councils do sometimes. It's interesting that Kettering, we're looking to levy the same amount in council next year as we did this year, which that's part of the budget consultation, which sounds like a nice price to keep in mind. We were concerned about revenue reserves too large. Paul's tweaked and polished everything and put us into a very up-to-date area whereby we can easily work on the same precepts as this year. We potentially underpin the fees by about 47, which is more than we thought last time about it. We can do so with some confidence because we know that a lot of the estates wish list is in the budget this year and next year. It was a state project. The maintenance team is now here, so we're saving money on rent relief down there. We've increased the running cost reserve to 600. Invested in Queen Victoria will mean that hopefully will go down, certainly not increase. And we also know that we can see, of course, that 40 houses coming on stream. So on that basis, we'll share this, all the details, the preset level as it is this year. We'll use 47,268 reserves. Reserves are substantial at 520,000.
Yeah, we've got a statement spending some we want to take again, 5,470 just around this budget. I don't know how much the state's really can spend on capital.
A lot of it will depend on climate. So for example, the repairs of the roof here will be expensive. We have a roof report through for all the major properties. There's some work might be doing in the courthouse in the next couple of years, but it will depend on how much it is. At the moment, there's nothing. So yeah, it will go down at some point, but in a way, that's what we put at the start. I like to say.
Do we, what you're saying earlier on, have we actually made a decision at council level that we hold 6 months worth of precept and reserves?
I suppose that we could recommend tonight, because we discussed it last.
Yeah. I just think if it's at full council level, then it's something that's set in stone, so we can't subsequently have people say, well, you shouldn't have done it.
No, absolutely.
So I think that
So
should,
I'll put something on the forecast agenda.
and you're like that.
Yeah, I'll write.
So, there we are. It all looks doable and reasonable.
That's in line with what we agreed.
Nothing has changed apart from a small addition that you explained in the So,
So we'll, I mean, it's last forecast anyway, so.
What was that? What was that?
It's the last forecast anyway, it's changing the approach we're taking.
Yes, yeah.
So,
Lisa did mention something about, she mentioned at the stage about an annual test on the flagpole, bunting pole, not flagpole, Christmas light pole. it's going to be about £400 a year, so she just wanted to make sure that that's going to be included within our budget.
Okay, yeah, we've done it already this year. It's safe.
They've got to do it every year, yes. It was like, yeah, so. Mhm.
As well, that's,
Yeah, I mean, wasn't able to be here at the last meeting, but it was right in principle, the precept. As it's existing level wasn't agreed at the meeting, so despite my voiced some reservations about it at that time, I'm not going to try and rock about it now, as a normal principle is established. Purely from a presentational point of view, just looking at these figures, I don't quite know sort of table of precepts that goes all the way back to 2001 appears to stop at 2021, 2022. So we haven't got 2022, 3 or 2023, 4 on there with the relevant two.
They're like 288 and 288.
his picture was there.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, that was
Because
one.
whatever I'm looking at isn't that.
Well, that's that.
It's strange because as far as I was aware, this is the budget draft number 2, and that's budget draft number 3.
This is just a copy of 2 in case
Yeah.
there's any changes tonight.
That's always been on the bottom, it's on the bottom.
But I printed this up.
Maybe there's a.
Maybe didn't print those last few ones, last few on.
Well, no, because it literally stops there.
Yeah.
But my theory is on this stuff. But then it's not got those codes on it. It's a completely different set of codes.
Is that?
Is there another page in your printing? Is it?
No. No, I mean, it's quite a document to me. So I've been looking at the wrong thing. Which doesn't help.
And you said there's going to be another 40 houses.
Well, that's just by me counting the NNC now. Yeah, there's something, if I go on to print, I'm going to get down to 21, 22, so there's a.
It must be a, yeah,
Second.
printer. Sorry.
I thought we had a discussion about whether we put it up to 2301 and decided not to because that 2261 was another confirmed to you by the county council.
Yeah. And it won't
It
be,
were
it won't be, yeah. it
Yeah,
won't
I'd go back to what you've got at the minute. Where did you get the 40 houses from?
I counted them.
Oh, right,
It's
okay.
interactive, but again, we don't.
When When I asked at NNC before,
Mhm.
when do we start receiving council? And it's all a little bit vague. People start paying their council tax the minute they
Yeah.
actually get in their house. But for that to then transpire back to NNC and for them to update the figures, they can't give a time frame on when that's going to happen.
Almost. Is in the next 2 or 3 years, we know it's getting bigger.
Oh, definitely, yeah, start gets small, yeah.
On that basis, we can sort of be closer to the margin, we might
Yeah.
know maybe in 5 or 10 years' time, when the system works, we'll get ahead of us.
Mhm.
Because you always have that out of work as well as. I'm guessing.
More, yeah, more.
Probably removing it. Chris's drama.
Well, there's a-
So,
so. That's what it
and they put it as law water.
is. That's a good point. So, on that basis, we've been asked to approve the budget. But we have to approve to recommend it. To approve the budget for recommendation. So it's both approved. So, I'm happy to propose we approve the budget for recommendation. John's happy to second it. We're okay to approve that? Thank you very much indeed. 24/28/03 to receive the Aviva Pension Annual Review and Scheme Governance Report, which has a lot of pictures and so on. Someone with more expertise than me might be able to give more information. It looked positive. The only thing that struck me was the fact that there's a big circle in pages, 33%. Only 33% of people have elected.
That would be myself and Emma aren't in it,
No.
and also one employee is under the threshold to join.
No, I think it was that 33% of people in it have yet to elect a beneficiary.
Oh, so they haven't,
So they haven't said, yeah, 33% of your members,
Having voted beneficiary.
so 2/3.
Or
So it's just worth reminding them to appoint a beneficiary, just in case.
maybe you're away.
I'll just send an email out to
John.
Couple of things if I may. Number one, just nothing to do with the report itself. You noted it, and I have no idea about this. 3 of the staff are either at or approaching retirement age, or scheme retirement age, I should say, to be clear. Any thoughts of retention or recruitment plans? I mean, you can't recruit because you can't expect people to retire at scheme retirement age. Is it our thinking?
Conversations are being had at greater levels.
Good.
In the hope that, there'll be some time and, Lisa and I have discussed it with, the members.
Second question, who dialyses the certification of the enrollments?
Who?
Who dialyses to make sure we properly certificate and properly do
The company that,
They do it.
yeah, they do.
It's about a £600 fee.
I just said when I introduced stakeholder into my last firm, it was a big deal. If you don't get it right, it can all go horribly wrong.
Yeah, so they instigate everything, don't they?
Good.
I like the emphasis on the word holiday. Let's just give us a. Lovely, thank you very much. Thanks to receive. Wasn't there more? No? And to receive a discussion report on the maintenance vehicle. This is just something I drafted after our second round was taken by the insurance company, and it seemed like an opportunity to at least consider where we go next and what best things our needs. It's there to be read. It will be discussed in the council next month. Decision taken, yeah.
I did read it, it was very interesting. I think what I'm trying to say is, I think it needs a more considered view from the guys who actually drive the and the officers, and it seems to present a lot of alternatives, but didn't have very much clear guidance in terms of what looked best. I spent quite some time looking at this last time we bought a van. The only thing in my view that prevented us from buying an electric van was towing capacity, which doesn't seem to be an issue these days. And we now seem to have options that don't involve tow trailers anyway. But I don't feel that I'm up to date knowledge about what's involved. So if we're going to discuss it next week, it's only 7 days away. I wouldn't want to do it on the basis of that discussion. I would want to have a much clearer view about what.
If I can just defend what I read.
That's right.
But it's something that went to the States 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And if you look at the bottom of it, the recommendation is in January, if we get some of the various options.
Yeah. And there's no issue with that. That's testing it and seeing if it works.
And on that basis, the school said that if we want to have a.
Yeah.
Then the guys.
Can I just say about the box van? I really don't think it's worth looking at that. I don't think it's going to be any use to us at all.
I suppose that's why.
Because it's one of those vans that people sell sandwiches from. It's like a high level thing.
But, well, most of those have got interchangeable boxes. It's worth looking at. Is that right?
Well, that was the view of maintenance guys. I think it's better if we look at the van.
What the process was, we're going to get maintenance people to have a look, we're going to get estates to have a look and come back with a recommendation, which is basically what we're saying there. So we're not being asked to make a decision in December. My question will be, when we come back with a proposal in January, it needs to be right because we're looking at long term. Can we look at the total cost of ownership, not just the monthly cost, but what the total cost is if we buy and sell, if we rent, or if we outsource, what's the total cost? If you mentioned outsourcing, I think we should look at it, or not be a fan of it. If we do include outsourcing as an option, I need to know what the staff who would be doing the mowing will be doing if we outsource the mowing. So that's what I mean by total cost of ownership. What are the implications of each? And I think this is an overview of what it's fine. There's nowhere near a proposal.
No, absolutely.
When we do the proposal, can we have all the replacement source and the total cost of ownership?
Yeah, I've said I thought the idea of a road legal mower did seem like a good idea. To be dangerous. That's it. Yeah, we can do it on that.
Yeah.
Then that seems like an option.
So you also want to look at outsourcing the mowing?
Now, just if we're looking at everything, then we should look at everything, but we lose control of different things.
Yeah.
But it seemed that we could look at it. And then if we decided to ban it, then we decided to ban it.
I think it'd be hard to have a look because we're responsible for the town's money. But part of the thing I think we should be doing is looking at the resource management we need. If we outsource it, it'll be more impact on new releases to manage the outsourcing. And what do the guys who currently do?
I
What
think
will
we
they
need to
do?
be a bit careful of
Sorry,
outsourcing.
I'm sorry.
I think we need to be a bit careful about me talking about outsourcing it because
If you look at the top, this is not us talking about it. It's merely, and I think I put it in to spin at the point. And actually, my suggestion would be if we got better, then we could do more of it and actually save some.
Because it says as we do with the cemetery. So what is the total cost?
Because at the moment,
So-
21,000 a year on all round,
Mhm.
outsourcing. And if we say that we did it ourselves, 21,000 pounds sustainable. Road legal law, which we do lots of other jobs. To me, it feels like a better service.
But I think,
Particularly if you look
yeah,
at 2C, because one of the things from the market report is complaints about in the marketplace. So if we could bring that in and that as an additional service, I think that would be great. But that's just it's not a green paper, is it? It's just a flyer. That's sort of
It's a stream
in January. What are the options? What's the total cost of ownership and what's the impact on the town and council?
so what do you want in January?
Well, if in January we can get everyone who needs to look at the vehicles to look at the vehicles, get them here, we can see what suits our needs. Because it struck me that us sitting around looking at a piece of paper was particularly helpful.
No.
And seeing, and we went option A, option B, option C, option D is clearly the most practical. And we've looked at financial.
I was talking about Nobby and Tony and with the companies that are up there and get them to come out.
Do they need to come to a council meeting?
No,
It's not an alternative. You're the consensus.
Oh, no, not to council meetings, I'll arrange to have them come,
When they're there.
yeah, no, not to meetings, no.
Or
When you're thinking about implementing,
when.
yeah.
I think there's no rush. I think the point is, last time, as I recall, Jerry will remind me, we lost the band. We suddenly had to catch up. We had some very quick. Yeah.
Was a strong financial as well as a, whatever the word is, environmental.
Yes, yeah.
And message,
Yeah.
right messaging argument for it. But I mean, but even looking at it from a financial basis, maybe they didn't make a lot of sense. I mean, the number of councillors around the table run electric vehicles, and no, they do make a lot of sense in many, many ways.
Also, without having a
actually in town. We're not driving up to somewhere else and trying to fill up the van yet. So there's lots of reasons why an electric van would be an easy decision to make for the straight line for line replacement. But if we're going to do something else, then obviously you need to look at other things.
So it's the beginning of the walk.
I think that's, if I was going to make it real long running, because if we look at doing this in January, it won't go to estates before February, it won't come to the MGP before February. So my question, secondary question here is, what will we do in the meantime? Because we're going to continue to rent a vehicle. That needs to come from somewhere.
Well, what we're going to be doing, hopefully by the end of this week, is renting a Toyota Corona. It's commercially, they're taking the seats out and
It's
it's not back.
didn't you?
Yeah. So it's like an estate car. So hopefully have that at the end of the week from A1 vehicles.
Yeah.
And so he said, we'll just invoice you monthly, £500. And we can have it like, month by month. So we're going to do that. So we've got that. And then he said, if you want to rent, you can rent a van, you can decide what you want, and we'll go out and get it. Or you can rent for 6 months with a view to buying afterwards. So you'll pay that rent, but it'll have paid off the value of that vehicle. Or he said, if you don't want to bother doing that, just keep renting, hand it back and carry on. So there's a few options there. He can source any sort of van.
That's good to know.
Mhm.
I'm just going back to this outsourcing thing. If you're going to look at it as an option, one of the things we ought to do is talk to other councils who do it and find out what their experience is. Gladstone Cleaner does it, because it doesn't have lots of sways and grass, but it does have villages it gets cut, and it does have a pocket park, which it gets cut. And I guess a lot of other councils may have some arrangements we should find out just what they do. If you're going to present a comprehensive picture, I have to say, the more we take in-house, the more I like it, because quite frankly, maintaining control means that you can set and keep your standards. Once you start outsourcing it, it just becomes a problem. And it's a problem for councillors because they'll get it in the neck from parishioners, and it's a problem for the staff. Constantly.
Yeah.
John?
You said that you would make amendments and come back with proposals. I think the A1 thing sounds a pretty good starting point. So
Yeah,
maybe they should have something in there as well. Put that in writing so you can do a proper.
Yeah.
Because if they're saying 500 a month for that, and if we decide something to buy, they'll take that off the cost.
Yeah.
Well, that is
It's 1978.
They do all the bands for PGR, they do Fairline, and then other places.
And then having a potential vehicle partner literally down the road is.
Yeah.
We should be. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, writing this wasn't designed to come up with one idea, but it was designed to get us thinking. And it sounds like we are thinking, so that's going to go for full council next week. We'll be here, but very much with the idea of just talking about January and February. In fact, just gap in the middle of the question.
We don't spend too long talking about it. There's still so much to
Yes, it sounds good to me.
So this is just stream of consciousness, so we'll be looking at it more deeply in February, probably March.
Cool. So 2 grant applications, 24, 28, 24 and 24, 28, 25.
Just before we start looking at them, can you tell us what's left in the budget?
I can't understand.
Anyway.
I just made that up.
According to the budget sheet, we just got given, we've got 4,000 left in the arts.
Yeah,
And 16, no.
so
11,
50.
250 in the community support.
Spent all that.
So that's what we spent. That's what's left. How close am I for?
In the community support, we spent 4,000 out of 15. We spent 1,000 out of 5,000 in arts.
So how much we spent on community support?
4,250. So this is.
420.
Does that include, because we made a change to the first responders, didn't we?
They haven't gone through yet, so I was waiting for some stuff.
Well, we haven't paid the grant to school because they're waiting to gather in their information. So the only ones that would have gone through,
There's yarn bombing, I was waiting for something for, and there's a third,
and the Baptist
yeah,
Church,
Wheelchair.
the Wiltshire.
I'm waiting for information.
Three vendors.
So the first responders one has.
No, it doesn't as yet.
And how much was that?
First responders.
Didn't we agree on
That's yes, I think we haven't done one in the last, wasn't it the last one?
No, it wasn't last month, it was this year.
They got first response, 3,000 in June.
July.
18th of July.
So that's ten.
That's been included.
So this year we spent 3, 4,
It's this year, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in there.
So it's in that 3
It's in that 3,750.
So the yarn bombing in the Baptist church has not actually gone through yet, which is, they will be paid this month.
7,000, so we've got about 7,000 left.
Yeah.
So the two grants ahead of us, volunteer action. Can Jerry sit in the room on these?
So you can sit in the room, because it's not pecuniary, it's not making any money.
It's not disclosed in
Yeah,
In any event, it's committee you can't approve it because they're not 7,000.
So it's.
So we can, this,
Yes. So consider the grant application for volunteer action. It's a sort of multi-level stage, but there's 7,000 in total for the grant to balance things up, pretty much.
it's, but yeah, it's what it costs to take count of people to where they need to go.
Again, I'm driving on the million pounds in detail, so I'm just a volunteer. But I didn't realise that Morton, for instance, paid quite a generous.
Yes, she told me.
For a relatively small patch, they did to support, which I wasn't aware of. You look at it on that basis, that, you know, supporting people with a need within the town. I think that's quite a good use of public money. I should have known, those anyone.
David?
I mean, the thing about this organisation in a sense is that it's been able to be in the future, and it does provide an invaluable service, and it's almost certainly the sort of thing you should be backing, particularly if it struggles to get grant funding from, say, NCC or enough. But if we were going to do it, we might be better budgeting as almost a monthly sum. And of course, if for the sake of argument, we said, well, give them £6,000 on the basis of £500 for 12 months, it's less of a hit to us. If something goes horribly wrong, it's not like we suddenly handed over £6,000 and 4 weeks later the organisation ceases to exist, which is still something I remember from East Northampton CAB days. But we handed over thousands of pounds of the organisation in the past. In effect, the money was lost. So I think if we're going to get into funding this sort of thing to that kind of size, doing it on a monthly basis and almost just building it into a budget would make sense.
absolutely, John. I've got no questions about that. this, it's the rest of our budget, which is a lot to spend, although presumably we only put it on a monthly basis, we'd be looking at £2,000 for the next, the balance of this financial year, so that assuages that concern. But if we look at the accounts, they're forecasting a huge deficit, although this year is a small surplus the current year. But the expenses have increased massively. If you look at salaries, that's increased by 50%. I mean, is that wise for a business or an organisation that's also asking for grant monies? Question one. Question two, if I look at the grant here, we've got group defending scheme funding. £25,000 of that is restricted funds. I don't know what that means.
Usually it means it's for a particular project and it can only be spent on.
And they would have got that funding, that project, I assume.
Right, so when later on they talk about they're doing the befriending thing, is that part of what we're being asked to support?
No, I think this, I thought this was the costs for them to take people to whatever appointments and things they take them to.
Yeah,
I think it's different from volunteer driving, isn't it, Jerry? I thought befriending was different to volunteer driving.
Good friendly is.
it's a different service.
Yeah.
It's not taking people, or is it?
No, but the befriend, what I mean is befriend, this isn't befriending.
No, I think that they've given me given grant. And my understanding of this is it was to help subsidise residents
Yeah,
volunteer. So that's how I read it.
Well, there's,
Okay, so
there's a bit of some of the befriending events are, you know, looks about school and other but a lot of it's one-to-one.
So on that basis, that's a budget that's been given to them for befriending scheme funding. If you go down to salaries, which I said has increased by yes, 23-24, that's increased by 50%, which is quite a large increase.
Yeah, I think they've taken people on to do various different things, and quite often with the funding that they can access, they will get help to pay for those people to do, so they'll get the running costs as well.
Okay. Is there any scope for them to increase their member payments or annual membership fees?
Well, they are doing that. They are introducing a membership cost, which didn't previously exist.
Okay, sounds good. And then finally, if I look at this, you know, actually for 23-24, expecting a surplus. We don't have any forecast for 24-25. Is that what this budget is? They're asking for £7,000.
We've asked for last year's figures.
Yeah.
So they give us,
Audited figures.
they've got their income. Last year.
I don't think they aim to make profit.
While their salaries go up, income's gone up. So,
They've given a grant in order to employ some extra people to do something. I don't know. So I'm not.
Tuesdays, if last year they made a surplus, are they forecasting a deficit of £7,000 this year, which would be a £16,000 turnover? So I don't understand where that difference is. If last year was 10,000 surplus, this year they're asking for £7,000 support. £17,000 difference. I don't understand where that's coming from.
From what I gathered, as Jerry said earlier, a lot of the other villages and parishes have been paying towards this
Yes.
for them to, you know, picking up their residents. And it's never, she's never done it. So she's never, and then when she looked to see how much money it costs, she thought, as she went to all other places, she would send us a grant application just to show us what it's costing.
So this is just a kind of a citing thing to say it's Warmington paying 1,500, so you should pay 7,000.
they're very clear saying as much as the council could provide support, if the 7,000 be covered, which would help state services. So it's not a wish list, I think it's up to.
Yeah.
So
£7,000 coming year to date. Do they want it now or do they want?
I think we've
I
asked
get the impression, the way that went, they would like it. All right.
That's the way I, that's the way.
Yeah, which is fair enough.
Which is,
It's what we asked them to give.
Yeah.
It's just that looking at it and seeing the figures involved, I'm more tempted to say give them so much in from now to our next meeting and consider whether to recommend continuing on that basis or what.
This should still be a full council decision, you think, because it's 7,000 they're asking for.
Well, not I suppose, if we actually grant less than our limit, which is £3,000, then I don't think we have to go to the council. It's not what they ask for, it's the critical figure, it's what we give them, it's the critical figure. Or
The rent they currently pay is 3,600 per year. And the last 10 years, we've given them £500 in grants.
to actually make a net profit.
Yeah.
But then our rent is generous. Our rent is generous.
Yeah.
The only other thing I was going to throw in the mix is, so we estimate we've got, let's say, 7,000 or 8,000 left, depending on the breaks and things. We've still got one more finance meeting this financial year.
Yeah.
And in that, another issue could. We know we've looked at various things, including citizens. So it could be there's more demand. If we were to say we went to 3,000 for this, we could. There'd be another chance for us to look at the grant again, or a monthly figure at the next meeting. At least we'd be making the right sum. But not necessarily.
When you say until the next meeting, during the next meeting in this financial year, or because that's only 2 months away, isn't it?
Yeah,
So we're paying £500 a month for 2 months. What difference would that make to the decision?
I'm suggesting paying 3,000 single grant. And then when we get towards the end of the financial year, we'd be able to review what demands that might be. And then we make a clear statement, we support volunteer action, we support what we do for our residents. And it could be that next year we decide to move to a monthly grant, having spoken. John.
I'm more in favour of David's idea of so much per month because it's saying 7,000 what you can support. So if we give them 3,000 for 4 months, and we're then saying 4,000 for 8 months, that doesn't seem quite the right portion. So I'd do £500 a month, that would be more. I think that's how the process works. I think to give a whole lump sum there would be.
Right. Jerry.
I'm not about that.
Sorry, what are you voting for now?
We're not.
Not a,
John used wood.
yeah, I mean, I think
So at the moment, I get the feeling that two of you are minded to move towards offering them a grant of £500 a month for the rest of the financial year. Is that something we can do?
let's see why not.
You
It's
can
4 months.
That's 2,000.
make it just say.
If you were going to say, you're going to give them £500 a month, yeah, then for the 7,000 a month, then no, you can't do that, that's still going to go to full council. Because even though you're agreeing small amounts,
So
So 2,000
2,000 for a one-off.
for this year, and then come back to us next year for the rest of the year.
I think, I'm sure they'll be very happy to talk to some of your concerns about the news going what you stuff.
Or so your option was to come back to the next finance meeting.
Yeah.
When we've got more idea of what's available.
Yeah, so it's just the 3,000, 2,000. Work just as well. when we get to the next finance committee, we can see what the rest of the year holds. Because in a way, it's.
They've given us the audited accounts. Do you know if they have
Jerry,
forecast?
I'm not. I'm trying to do for the ladies.
Just simply help them. It would be helpful for the next, that is to have a little forecast and what an idea of what they're going to do.
Again, they haven't given us. Yeah.
Which is why it's been asking now.
Second, your proposal.
Which is the proposal.
But if you were to make,
If I were to
in the event that you were to make, be supportive, but I want to see if they come back warning again, some kind of forecast for this. Because we start off by saying we've got enough reserves that if we had to close down, we could afford it. Which is so I want to
It's been, I think it's trying to explain the level.
yes, it's
Just
we
to recommend that 6 months
yeah, we have.
ongoing expenditure.
Again, there are budget requests for why the reserves concerned, that's why.
Yeah.
I think
They're
that's
basically-
there.
Please change it. So, I'm going to propose that we, go with a grant of 2,000. But we say we might revisit it at the next finance meeting, depending on our takers. Give us, they can watch the video and they could say, we can give you some more important questions, looking towards us, supporting them in the long term. We got all those words down.
Well, we've got, yeah. Yeah.
So basically 2,000, we visit it again. So that's my proposal. David has seconded it. Jerry's not voting, so John votes. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. And 242805, grant application from Creative Animal. This is something that's sort of been talked about a few times. We have talked about us being a catalyst. This is a really good example. They're proposing some brochure for the whole tenants event. And they've asked us for. Jerry?
I was going to say, again, that, you know, I've got interest, I wasn't involved in Paradise application. I don't think it's a bit of a shame I didn't list all the other organisations, because it does encompass a whole load of organisations. I think it would be great to show what the whole breadth of what's going
In
on.
particular, I know it will include the Fringe. won't it?
Yeah.
And last year, the Fringe asked us to help with their brochure. So hopefully this will stop us getting it again. So it's a wise investment.
GS, the Festival of Music and Arts, and Literature Festival, everything's going.
So direct to Jerry's point, I agree that it would be helpful to have a list of who's involved and a little bit supportive. So certainly put that in straight away. What I'm surprised at is the approximate cost of this project, 2,600. Creative Animals, the largest organisation, put in £300. So it's saying that all the other organisations, like the Fringe, like GLS, like everybody else that's on events during that summer period, are only going to put in another £300. I would have thought that given all the other organisations that are involved, we should have seen much more than £300 in it, and we should be paying less than £2,000 towards it. Accepting that we want to be a catalyst, accepting that Anvil is very good from a cultural point of view, to say that however many organisations there are, Joe's mentioned quite a number, but they're going to fork out £300 between them for a brochure which includes everybody. Doesn't sound to me to be quite enough.
The other side of that coin is that we often end up getting grants from those groups to help them sell brochures. So we just be David, is that a question?
A little bit like the last scenario in one way, in as much as my instinct was to say, for a similar reason, actually, why don't we fund half the project, which is £1,300? And if they want to come back and seek additional funding from us, they can provide the rest of the information that we'd like. Because I'm, like John, a bit surprised that there isn't more detail. Who else is in the kitty? What they can have contributed, what they're not contributed, and so on. But I'm very conscious of the fact that creative element is one of the jewels in the crown. And I think we should certainly be getting behind it. And it may very well, I'd be happy to increase that. But I think as a starting point, give them and ask for some more information and we'll consider the rest of that.
Just out of there. One of the most important ones, Paul, could you move down to the top of page? Go down. Oh, up. Two options. I've got the one. 50-50 Paul. Keep going. A little bit more, a little bit more. There we go. No. Yes. There we go. So in the middle of that large paragraph, so primarily as an OTC venture, we've included information, blah, blah, blah. And creative man were looking into it themselves, they're now going to contact Life. And Life are now going to put this out around the place and residents and surrounding villages. So actually, I would propose that on top of benefits to create that's there's also a benefit to us in marketing not only the town to our hinterland if you want, but also to us as a council, showing us to be doing into everyone. So there's a little bit of marketing. John?
I'm not sure I'd be supportive of saying here's how, and that was later on. What I would prefer to do is to say to Commissioner, you asked for 2,000. I would like to see a list of which other organisations are involved and what they're proposing to. Absolutely, I can see all the benefits that you've just outlined there and other grants, what grants will get with that. But I still come back to whether other organisations who are involved should be paying a little bit more. So a list of what the other organisations were and how much they were each contributing to the overall cost of something which benefits everybody, I'll be much more prepared just to look at it.
Joe?
I mean, it may not have any weight, but it is that none of these organisations make money. They struggle to get by year to year. So, I mean, the last 2 years, probably this year, we are running down the reserves. But I mean, eventually, it's going to see more from somewhere else. So I think we're all much the same. So it's a difficult ask to go these fringe, shakes a bucket at the end of the concert, and that's their income stream. It's not, they're not got hundreds of thousands of pounds to. No bucket. They should bucket that goes to the artists. So there is no money for the stage.
Yeah. Yeah, we were both at the Business Association meeting on Thursday, and they were making the point of GNS and that takes lots of money, etc. For my money, but for my money, we're talking a few hundred pounds. It could be a really important ship. We could also get a food festival as well, which is save us some money.
Yeah, I wouldn't say can we advertise?
No, absolutely. So, sports, and we're doing this and doing that.
Yeah, and don't forget the Christmas market. Yeah. But for my money, if it doesn't work, then it's a one-off. We've got 4,000 in the arts budget. We've got one more to go this year. For the sake of a few hundred pounds, personally, I would support.
It's got a lot of community support.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's creative.
roads, I'm much less worried then, because I'm just worried that we've spent a lot of money, we've got other things coming up, and we haven't got that much money left.
You know, the Armstrong has got 4,000 left. So I think as a sign of support, it's a good thing. We can get a benefit for the council. So on that basis, I'm going to propose we support it to the tune of 2,000 for the arts grant. If anyone's willing to say. David?
Because actually, having heard that, and with it coming out of the Oxford Museum, I feel rather.
Yeah, that's it. Bring it all together.
Yep.
So thank you to Creative Random for suggesting it, facilitating it, and we'd be delighted to support it. 24, 29, any other business? David? Nothing from me. Jerry? Nothing from me. Nothing from me. So on that basis, now you get to vote.
No.
56 minutes.
Can we have a talk?